Did you hear the news? One of the most unforgettable people behind Pirates of the Caribbean has sadly passed away. And I know what you're probably thinking, wait, who? Because his name wasn't on the posters. He didn't stand on the red carpet. He didn't smile into the cameras during press tours. But his work, oh, you've seen it. Over and over. Every time Captain Jack Sparrow stumbled through danger, swung from ropes, leapt into the sea, or pulled off some impossible escape, you were actually watching the incredible skill and courage of Bob Elmore. Hey there. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me today. This one really hits close to home for me. And maybe for you, too, if you're someone who grew up watching the Pirates films, cheering for Jack Sparrow, holding your breath during those wild ship battles. Because today, we're saying goodbye to Bob Elmore, a true icon of the franchise, who passed away this week at the age of just 65. And yet, even though he was rarely seen in front of the camera, Bob's presence was felt in every thrilling moment of those films. In the sword fights. In the falls. In the dangerous stunts that made you gasp. That was Bob. Always there. Always in the middle of it. Always making it look easy. So today, I want to take a little time to talk about who Bob really was. What he did. Why he mattered to so many people. And the beautiful words his co-stars shared about him, which have touched fans all around the world. So let's start here. Who exactly was Bob Elmore? If you've watched Pirates of the Caribbean, you know the image. Johnny Depp, as Captain Jack Sparrow. His hair in dreadlocks, his hat slightly crooked, that mischievous grin on his face. He stumbles around, looking drunk, but somehow always lands on his feet. He's surrounded by chaos, cannon fire, enemy swords, ropes snapping, but he dances through it all like it's nothing. That's the magic of Jack Sparrow. But here's the truth. As brilliant as Johnny Depp was in creating that character, a huge part of the magic came from Bob. Bob was Johnny's stunt double for the most dangerous scenes. He was the one who actually climbed the rigging of those tall ships, who fell into the sea during a storm, who got thrown into walls and hit with fake swords. He did it all so that Johnny could stay safe, and so that we, the audience, could believe that Jack Sparrow really could survive anything. That's the thing about stunt performers. They're the unsung heroes of every action movie. They risk their own bodies to create these moments of pure movie magic. They rarely get the glory. Their names are buried deep in the credits, if mentioned at all. But without them, the movie just wouldn't work. And Bob? He was one of the best. People who worked with him said he was fearless, but not careless. That's an important distinction. Because in the world of stunts, being reckless can get you, or someone else, hurt. But Bob was a professional. He practiced every move. He rehearsed every fall, every jump, every sword swing, over and over again, until it was second nature. One of his colleagues once said, Bob didn't just do the stunt. He owned the stunt. He made it look so natural that you forgot it was dangerous. And that's true. Think about it. When you watched Jack Sparrow swing from a rope high above the deck of the Black Pearl, you didn't think, oh, that looks risky. You just thought, wow. That's Jack. That's how good Bob was. But beyond his talent, Bob was also known for his kindness. People described him as humble, always smiling, always ready to help. He wasn't the kind of guy to brag about what he did. He didn't need to. He loved the work itself. He loved being part of the team. He was also someone you could count on. Stunt work is dangerous, and it takes an incredible amount of trust to let someone else guide you through it. But everyone trusted Bob. Because he knew what he was doing, and he cared about keeping everyone safe. That's why it was such a shock when the news came yesterday that Bob had passed away. At just 65 years old. And what really struck me, and probably struck you, too, if you've seen it, was the tribute from his co-star. Johnny Depp. Johnny and Bob worked together for years. They built something like a quiet partnership. Because every time Johnny stepped in front of the camera, he knew Bob was right there, ready to step in for the hard parts. Ready to make Jack Sparrow look like the luckiest pirate alive. And Johnny's words about Bob were simple, but powerful. He said, "Without Bob, Captain Jack would have never danced through danger the way he did. He brought courage and soul to every scene. Sail on, my friend." And wow. That just gives you chills, doesn't it? Because it reminds you that behind every great character, there are people, real people, making it all possible. Now, here's something you might not know. Stunt work on movies like Pirates isn't just physically demanding. It's mentally exhausting, too. The preparation is brutal. The costumes are heavy. The conditions, especially on a ship or in water, are unpredictable. Bob would sometimes spend hours rehearsing a single sequence. He'd choreograph every move, every swing, every fall, making sure it was safe, but still looked exciting on camera. There's a story from one of the films where Bob spent nearly 2 full weeks practicing a fight scene on a moving ship. In full pirate costume. Under the blazing sun. Just so that when the cameras rolled, the scene would look effortless. That's how much he cared about getting it right. And it wasn't just about his own performance. Bob also mentored younger stunt performers. He'd pull them aside, offer tips, show them safer ways to do things. One of them said, "Bob made me feel like I belonged. He didn't treat me like a rookie. He treated me like a teammate." That's the kind of person Bob was. And here's a little detail about him that makes me smile. Bob carried a small wooden charm in his pocket during every shoot. A little good luck token. Nobody really knows where he got it, but he always kept it close. Kind of perfect for a pirate, right? It's little things like that that tell you who someone really is. And thinking about Bob now makes me appreciate the Pirates of the Caribbean movies in a whole new way. Because it reminds me that every scene, every shot, every daring escape, was made possible by someone who loved their craft. Someone who didn't care about fame. Someone who just wanted to make the story as good as it could possibly be. And isn't that what being a hero really means? When you sit down to watch those movies again, and really, I hope you do, let yourself see them differently this time. Look closer during those big action scenes, the ones that get your heart racing and make you grip the edge of your seat. You know the moments I'm talking about, when Jack Sparrow swings from a rope across the deck of the Black Pearl, when he dives headfirst into the ocean to escape capture, when he somehow stumbles through sword fights and cannon blasts and comes out the other side with that crooked grin still on his face. Those scenes feel like pure movie magic, don't they? They feel impossible, like only Jack Sparrow could ever pull them off. But behind every one of those stunts was Bob Elmore, putting himself in harm's way so that the story could feel real for all of us. And that's the thing about stunt work. It's invisible when it's done right. You're not supposed to notice. You're not supposed to think, "Oh, that was the stunt double." No, you're just swept up in the adventure. But every leap, every fall, every crash and tumble. That was Bob's body hitting the ground, Bob's hands gripping the ropes, Bob's muscles straining to make the impossible look effortless. He took those risks over and over, scene after scene, so that we could sit in our seats and believe in the legend of Jack Sparrow. And you have to remember, these weren't easy stunts. They were brutal. Dangerous. The costumes alone were heavy and restrictive. The decks of those ships were slippery and unpredictable. The heat under the sun could be relentless. The water scenes could be freezing. And yet Bob kept showing up, giving everything he had to every take. He came home with bruises. With cuts. With aches and pains that most of us will never understand. But he kept coming back. Because for him, it wasn't about glory. It was about doing the job right. About making sure the story looked as good as it could possibly look. That's why, when you watch those movies again, take a moment during the biggest, wildest scenes to really think about Bob. To picture him up there on the rigging, or falling into the sea, or rolling across the deck after a perfectly timed punch. To appreciate the quiet courage it takes to risk your own body for a story. To recognize the heart it takes to give so much of yourself without expecting applause. Because the truth is, without Bob Elmore, Captain Jack Sparrow wouldn't have been Captain Jack. Not the way we remember him. Not the way we love him. Bob made Jack's impossible adventures possible. And for that, he'll always be part of the magic. I wonder, did you know about Bob Elmore before today? Or is this the first time you're hearing his name? I'd love to know your thoughts. What's your favorite Pirates of the Caribbean moment? Is it the wild sword fights? The cannon battles? Jack Sparrow's outrageous escapes? Or maybe the quieter, clever moments? Let me know in the comments. I'd really love to hear which scenes stand out for you, and now, knowing about Bob, how they feel different. And if you enjoy stories like this, stories about the real people behind the movies we love, I think you'll enjoy some of the other videos on this channel. So stick around, and check out what's next. Before you go, though, if this story touched you, if it made you smile, or made you think, or made you want to go rewatch the Pirates movies tonight, give this video a like. It helps more people see it. And if you're not already subscribed, I'd love it if you joined us here. We tell stories that deserve to be told. Thanks for spending a little time here with me today. And Bob, if you're out there somewhere now, sailing on calmer seas, may your sails stay full. May your adventures be unforgettable. You gave us magic, and we'll never forget you. We'll miss you, mate.